We're going. Cut
Hey,
off
welcome
early
back, everyone.
yesterday. Yeah, cut off early. Both had to put out some fires, but came back. So 9 is cut short. 10 is rolling now. So let's get going. Had tons of stuff still on the list to take care of or to talk about yesterday that we were unfortunately never able to get to. So I guess we kind of stopped at the esports and e-gaming stuff and had gone pretty in depth there. So I guess let's make a transition to start this one out and talk about some other stuff. Um, Talk about maybe some relocation type things. We saw Goldman within the last couple of days say that they're going to be moving their asset management division down to Florida. Elon moved from Texas or from California to Texas. He officially there was talk earlier in the week that a couple friends had said, "Oh, he's thinking about moving," and then he came out and said, "I already moved." Uh, New York lost over 350,000 people or 300,000 people this year. So just different type of migrations going on. Interested to hear what you think about that and on the large scale, I guess 360-degree view, and then maybe some more minute stuff.
I mean, honestly, in the short term, 100% makes sense. Everyone's going to Florida. That's why Citadel was out to Florida right away. I mean, look, everywhere days are closing, but you can go into Miami right now and go into a club.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything's open. So their employees are gonna have normal lives. They're gonna have normal lives. People want normalcy. No one wants to deal with De Blasio closing down half the stuff every other week out
Now
of
with
nowhere.
with Goldman, do you think there was a reason that it was the asset management division as opposed to another division, uh, or
Yeah,
no? Do you think it
100%.
was? Yeah. What is the
100%.
reasoning then behind that? Because we have seen, I guess, hedge funds move down there, as you mentioned, Citadel, some other different funds been
Yeah,
moving
well, one,
down there in
it's still
recent
on the
years.
East Coast. It's still on
Still
the
on,
East
yeah, yeah, and that's
Coast.
the big,
So
yeah.
they're still pushing the normal 9:30 to 4. They're not doing some weird hours, even though some people like those other hours.
Yeah, it was
But
actually interesting. Well, kind of sidestep. I was listening to an interview with Charles Schwab the other day, and he said he was talking about how he loved being on the West Coast because he'd get in and get grooving for 6 o'clock at market open over there on the West Coast, which is 9:30 here, so 6:30 really there. But
yeah,
and then they would be done with trading and everything by 1, so they don't really have to worry about it. They can get all their administrative stuff. So he said he was
start
working
prospecting.
he was working 6 a.m. their time to 6 or 7 p.m. East Coast time, uh, and he's still out at 3:30 or whatever, and has the whole afternoon to do everything. So it is, I guess, a little bit of a difference. But I mean, he was a California guy, and we see people fleeing California like Musk, as I said.
Also, they're sending asset management. Florida has always been a huge retirement state. There's tons of assets down in Florida. And you talk about
Tons
the
of assets.
migration of New York, a ton of those people are
That's where they're
migrating.
going.
They
Yeah.
are going down to Florida or to South Carolina,
Yep.
states of those nature. So, I think it's definitely a play. Do I think Florida is ever going to become the financial headquarters of the world? No.
Yeah, but do you see it necessarily being in one spot as centric as New York was, or do you think uh, for example, Goldman's headquartered in Miami Beach or whatever it is. Uh, Morgan Stanley's headquartered in Dallas and
Sarasota
uh,
or something. Yeah. All right.
but yeah, somebody is headquarters in Arizona,
Nah,
Scottsdale.
I don't think. Well, I don't think you're gonna see people pull their headquarters from New York. To be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. But division wise, you could see some spread of divisions to other
I
hubs.
mean,
I
but
mean,
we already have
we
been,
already have
honestly.
that.
We
Yeah.
already have been because all of like we were talking about the other day. They're in I remember what it is now. It just clicked in my head. It's in Purchase, New York. I think it's Merrill. It's either Morgan or Merrill. All their
Yeah.
analyst jobs, all their back office analyst jobs, stuff of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in Purchase because they don't want to spend. They haven't wanted to spend the New York City rent prices for years now. So
Mm-hmm.
I think there's already been this shift. And now I think this could extend the shift further in the fact that instead of Purchase, New York, now it's Florida. Big difference
Mm-hmm.
between Purchase and Florida. You can be from Purchase to Manhattan in 45 minutes drive if you want to.
Yeah,
But
that's yeah.
but
But
at the end of the day, I don't think we'll ever see Goldman pulling the headquarters going somewhere, or Morgan pulling the headquarters going somewhere, because New York City is just the financial hub of this hemisphere, and then you have London on the other side. It's just, I don't think we'll ever see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the big CEOs are always going to want to have the big lavish offices overlooking the park or overlooking downtown Wall Street. And there's always going to be billionaire clients who are going to want to fly into the city and be woozed, you know?
Yeah, but how much does the asset hunting aspect of it change
that's
because of
why.
that? Yeah, because assets are being so spread out to various locations.
Well, let me ask you. How are you asset hunting right now?
It's a different.
Oh,
Yeah,
does it really
I was going
matter?
to say it's
Does
a
it really matter?
different thing in some senses, but it also is a
I don't
similar
know,
in some
bro.
senses. No, I know what you mean, and
I've
a
had
lot
a
of it
$30
is
million
done
dude over the phone just say, yeah, okay,
virtually
let me
now.
send you 10 grand. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no,
Like,
I know what you mean, and it has shifted a lot to virtual, so it doesn't really matter where I am at any place or time to kind of take care of things. But I think when you spoke to the people want normalcy, people like normalcy. By and large, the majority of my clients would much rather come and see me at my office as opposed to doing it on Zoom, just kind of
definitely.
doing it because that's the case. So, like you said, they moved to
Now
Florida because the people are moving to Florida.
these corona inconveniences though. I'm talking that's the short term, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
Personally, I don't see this going on for another 3-4 years.
But there's a
So
large delay in the time that Corona's back to normal and all those people picking back up from Florida and moving back to New York.
But we have 30 million people from the tri-state area coming to Manhattan a day. So 30 million, 300,000, it's 1%.
Yeah, no,
So definitely a lot. No, definitely a lot of money was moved for sure. Tax money, tax revenue. But I still think there's going to be plenty of assets around, plenty of people around that in the grand scheme, it opens up a new market for people to go hunt in new places. But I don't think it's going to kill.
That's something that I've always thought about in terms of actually, in terms of gathering assets is Florida, I kind of lick my chops when thinking about it because it's like a bunch of, it's a bunch of qualified assets, large sums of qualified assets that are just sitting there waiting to be collected. But, they might be in someone's holding right now, but they're probably not doing a good job with them. So I always saw it as that, especially in Florida, which makes it a little bit different. But, a lot of these tax haven states, same thing in, we talked about Dallas. There's fucking big money in Texas, sitting there out in, both East and West Texas, just, surplus on surplus.
100%. You can go into the middle of Montana and find. You can go into the middle of Montana and find a billionaire. Like
100%.
There's big money everywhere to be found at the end of the day these days because the world's so connected. And you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if your office is in New York, Miami. Can you not hop on a plane and go have lunch with someone if it's worth your time? You know what I mean? If it's worth you landing a $10 million, $15 million account, you're going to hop on that plane and go out to LA and have lunch with them, even if you're in Dallas or you're in New York or you're in Montana. Because I've definitely seen brokers do some crazy things to go get a client, for sure.
Yeah.
Driving 8.5 hours just to go have dinner.
Now that's the business side of it. What do you think on the flip side with Elon moving from California to Texas? He doesn't really portray that Texas type of guy, but droves of them, Joe Rogan, droves of them leaving California, for example, for Texas. It appears, New Yorkers kind of leaving for Florida, Californians are leaving for Arizona or Texas in droves. What do you think about it from the personal aspect?
And let me ask you what, but what do you think that's going to do to these states? Now, these are the people that turn these states blue. To Texas, to Florida. These are the people that turn these states blue.
The people that are migrating?
Yeah. Originally. These are the same people. These are the same people who voted for Cuomo.
No, but a lot of times In New York, it's a little different, but well, I guess it's kind of similar to California. But I would say, by and large, the people that are going to get up and leave are probably the independents or the people who are maybe fringe blue,
No, definitely.
to even
There's a
centric.
difference, but there's a difference. A New York City, a big city blue, a big city liberal, and a Midwestern or Southern liberal. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
on the scale. So, for example, I know a few years ago when people started, and that's why Arizona went blue this year. When people started going from Cali to Arizona,
Mhm.
the state started to go more blue locally in
Texas is the
elections.
same thing. And you could
100%.
see right in the center of, around the outsides, but in that center and going down into Houston kind of area, it's becoming, growing bluer and bluer as time goes on. So it's
Now
interesting.
that I 100% agree. I think that is very interesting. I think that's going to cause ton of shifts in politics, in taxes, in everything. Because I'm
So
honestly,
what do you what do you
there's a natural
you
reaction.
asked
There's a
about.
natural cycle to everything.
There is, and
So
that's where I'm going. So you asked about the Texas or the Florida who are receiving these people. What is the ultimate shift in the cycle or the continuation of the
yeah,
cycle for New York, for Texas, for those places?
for
Do
both
they
of them,
start
exactly.
to decrease taxes, at large rates over the next 10, 12, 15 years? I mean, I don't see it from either New York or Texas. So that's kind of where my main worry is. I don't see how they start to regain people if they don't kind of fall into the other side of the cycle and do things to try and bring people back. When you already have them, when you already have the mass population centers, uh,
So
you don't have
you
to
don't see
win the
places
people.
like Texas or Florida becoming more liberal and raising taxes and
No. I'm saying on the flip side, I don't see uh, New York or California
okay.
lowering them or making it more attractive for people to come back, or
Yeah.
for
hmm
red people to then migrate there, or whatever it may be.
See, now I don't think states compete for people, honestly, personally. I don't think
I
they
see.
compete for people
I
at all.
think DeSantis. I think Abbott in Texas. I think those guys are
For the
recruiting.
individual
I think
man,
Cuomo. I don't think Cuomo.
I don't think any politician gives a shit about the individual man, to be honest with you.
No, I'm saying I think they are in terms of DeSantis, in terms of Abbott, are in North Carolina the same way. Georgia are welcoming. Come on, move yourself down. Move yourself down. uh, Even kind of marketing it as you guys should move down here. Whereas I don't think uh, Cuomo in New York, I would say.
At the end of the day, if I ran a state, I wouldn't give a shit if an individual person came on that level.
It's
I
not.
can
It's
give two.
not. I'm not talking individual people. I'm talking
No, I
people in
know.
mass.
No, not even people.
Cuomo's not
Not even
saying.
people in mass. That's not what I'm saying. I wouldn't be looking to attract people because people don't create output for me. I'd be looking to attract business at the end of the day. And people will follow the business because people need to put food on the table. If your
Well,
boss, if your boss says we're moving from Florida, Musk, for example, like you said, Cali to Texas. So now I'm sure there's gonna be some people in Tesla that are low key kind of livid. They're probably like, fuck it, I like California. Why do I gotta go? So maybe some of those people, some of them might be able to afford not to go. Some of them might be able to say, fuck it, I can find a new job. But some of those people damn well are gonna go, all right, this is where I get my food from, this is where I get my money. I'm going with Musk. Like you definitely have that childhood friend who moved at some point because his dad got a job somewhere else, like that type of situation. So I think, if New York or any of these states, for example, that need people, I think their key, what they really need to do is attract business. The more business they attract, the more people will have to come.
yeah, but when you have people who are doing things like, and we talked about this before. Think of the Amazon situation in New York with, what was
And
it,
look, they drove business away.
$25,000.
They didn't drive people away, they drove business away.
And the people follow that. But that's exactly my point. I wouldn't say they're one and the same, but they're very, very similar in the fact that if you make it attractive for businesses to be there, then it's more attractive for the people to be there because the people are going to get paid more handsomely by the businesses. So by de-incentivizing business. You're de-incentivizing people to stay or to come to your state. And my
100%.
point in the
And
matter is
what
saying
I'm
that
saying is,
I don't necessarily see, whereas I see places like Florida and Texas maybe in the future raising taxes, but right now allowing people to come in. I don't see New York or California going into the other end of the cycle and lowering taxes or doing other things to incentivize business to come back. But to your point, there's also a factor of New York has. You can never be too arrogant, though. New York is kind of getting to a point where Cuomo, De Blasio, some of these guys, they're doing things to I mean,
and yeah,
Ocasio-Cortez, any number of them to
let me
de-incentivize
ask you,
business.
how many and how long is De Blasio going to be in power
No,
for?
it doesn't matter. It's a whole shift. It's these are all pawns on the wheel. Ocasio-Cortez, how long is she going to be in power? Let me flip that on you. Or how long is she going to be in
Bro, she could be in
politics?
power forever.
40 years, 50 years more?
She could be. She could be. 100%.
Exactly my
100%.
point. So if
Bro, let me ask you, does AOC really scare you?
she does,
That's
she's
interesting
she's
because
electric.
honestly,
She
one
knows what she's
politician,
doing.
there's
She
not
knows
one
what she's
politician
doing.
on the left or right that scares me.
She knows what she's doing.
Because at the end of the day, I know you or I, we're going to be able to get up out of this country and leave if we want to. Just like Elon Musk was able to say, California, go fuck
No,
yourself.
but we're not we're talking about
he got up and left.
We're talking about the idea of businesses being here, there, or where. And in that sense, yeah, if you're gonna be the sole driver behind pushing out,
bro, well then
25,000 Amazon jobs at 125.
Well then New York will die.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking.
But it won't though. But it's not going to happen. I can guarantee you that.
This is the trajectory.
If you think New York's going to die, bro, look at London. Just go look at London.
In what sense?
In what sense? It's been around since like the fucking 1400s, and it's gone through periods of shitholes where like London was literally the worst place in the world. People dying on the streets.
And
it's still the financial capital of that hemisphere. It is the big swinging city. It is. It's the top. You want to go? Who else? Where else you going to trade over there? You're going to work in financials over there. Where are you working?
Where?
In Europe. You're working in London,
Stockholm. I mean,
you're working in London, bro. If you're trading, you're working in London.
I'm not going.
Unless you're a personal banker. Unless you're a personal banker, you're in Switzerland.
I'm not going to any of them though. My point is being somewhere.
Bro, you think New York City's gonna die?
I don't even necessarily.
Let's hear it. Let's hear the reasons. I'm interested.
I'm not even suggesting that it's going to. I'm saying if it were to, or if it continues on the trajectory based on the fact that they're doing things like pushing 25,000,
I don't know how you could assume it's
going
to stay on that trajectory though, when we've had swings that have been insane. Bro, 80 years ago, that was a disgusting thing I just said. 40 years ago, there was over 1,000 murders a year in New York City. People are bugging out about the murder rate this year when it's like 300. That's still a third.
I get it. I get it.
So we got what I'm saying is we have a long way to go before we're in the shitter.
Yeah, that's exactly
even
what
when
I'm
we hit that,
also.
and even when we hit that, I don't think New York City's even close to not coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
because bro, you sent me that video. That's something we should play right now, but we didn't have it planned in. So, but I wish we could play that video of the South Bronx right now.
In what?
That video you sent me of the Getty. Didn't you send me the Getty video of the South Bronx?
Oh, back in like 1980?
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. So one, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that. Yeah. My dad used to drive through the Bronx every day then. So I hit him. I asked him. He said, yes, that's what it looks like. I said, holy crap. Bro, if you go to the South Bronx today, yeah, shithole. But let me tell you, way, way nicer than that. Way nicer.
Yeah, and we can probably go even
I just
further
think,
into this
I don't think any of these big cities,
I
don't think any of these big cities are dying. I don't think Chicago could die. I don't think LA could die. LA is a shithole. San Francisco, shithole. I don't think they could die though. Honestly, they're just hubs of activity, and they're hubs of activity for bigger reasons than you and I can comprehend. They're just the human nature. It's
Yeah.
they became hubs of activity before the technology. So if even the more technology that comes around, I don't think it's gonna affect that, honestly. As wild as that sounds. Because at the end of the day, there's always gonna be people who long for that um that culture, the connectivity. And it's not even like culture in the aspect of like people say like, oh, the culture, but like for example, a city of 50,000 people can't support like every single type of Korean food because like obviously there's different types of Korean food or different types of Indian food. But when
Yeah.
you go to a major city, you can literally get like that specific area of India's food. You know what I mean? Not just Indian food. So like there's always going to be people that are longing for that type of atmosphere.
I don't disagree, but I'm just saying that right now there is a long. I mean, it's already from what we see is not the worst of what we're going to see in
Oh,
terms of
short to medium term,
and
I wouldn't like
yeah,
to be a landowner in the city right now.
and you bring up that culture thing. I mean, you talk to plenty of people. What's your favorite thing to do in New York City? Walk around. Go to the different restaurants, go to the shops, go to this, that, and the other thing.
100%.
What can't you do right now? Any of that. You can't do any of it. And I mean, De Blasio doesn't have nobody really knows when the end of that's going to be and how many people are going to be left standing. I mean, what was it? 45% of businesses in New York and in New Jersey have or in the service industry have closed over the last 8 months or 9 months. That's going to further with another 3, 4, 5 months of restrictions, so, different things like that. So,
No doubt.
but I understand where you're coming from in saying that, it's kind of where there's a will, there's a way. Whenever people are, longing to get back to that, as we all are already, but when people are really trying to get back to that typical New York City vibe or
And I think it's still
typical
all big
LA
cities,
vibe
bro.
or whatever.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
yeah.
big cities, not
Whatever.
just New York.
Yeah, then there will be some revivement. But my point is that what is the delay in that resurgence due to the fact that it's actually pushed people in large amounts of people out, like move permanently out.
I
I
mean,
said, there's a
so
delay between when the business comes back
okay,
and when these people pick back up and
but in
move
that
back.
aspect, bro, I don't know. So what have you seen in upstate New York over the past like I don't know 10 years? Because there was way more people migrating from upstate New York over the past decade out of New York than there were from down here. Now Mad Heads dip from down here.
I've seen over the last probably
So have you
6, 7,
have you
8
seen
years.
businesses closing and then reopening, or have you seen shit just closing, never coming back? Or
I
like,
would say I've seen more things opening and staying open up here than reopening, closing and reopening, or closing forever. I would say over the last 6, 8 years, mass migration of people from the city coming up here as opposed to actually leaving here, uh, and businesses opening and staying open. I can think of countless businesses that are, advancements are different. And you always can, but that have opened and stayed open and do well right now.
yeah, no, word. I'm honestly I'm quite surprised because, I mean, I remember in economics looking at this specifically, but I know a lot of people left upstate New York. So over the last years, out of state population. I don't know. I can't find these exact numbers, but
Yeah, what was the general essence of it?
it was a lot of people, yo. It was a lot of people
Yeah.
leaving. Like, and it was like it's been on that grind since like
you also
1990.
you also have to understand that
But also,
I'm in the center of New York outside of New York City. So upstate New York, Albany, New York, capital of New York. So
Nah, no doubt.
people are moving
But
from other places in upstate New York more likely than moving from Albany.
all right, word, no doubt. No, because I know for a fact we were looking at like industry and whatnot, like producing industries that left and went down south,
Mhm.
to like the
Mhm.
Carolinas and whatnot. And that caused the migration of like hundreds of thousands of people. And that's what I mean
Mhm.
by the businesses move the
I
people.
I will
Because
say I will say this. There are more people that I know that are moving out of New York State that are going to either of the Carolinas uh, than any other state uh, in the United States by far.
oh, most
People
definitely.
going to
Everyone I
the
know who left
Carolinas,
went to the
going to the
Carolinas.
Carolinas. Yeah, it's very interesting. Don't know why, but it's the case.
Yeah, a lot of people, definitely a tons of people going to the Carolinas from New York. And at that rate, it's like I was saying, how does that change the dynamics? Because for example, this family that just recently went there probably 2 years ago, they said in their town, most of the town is from New York.
Yeah.
Like they literally go to the supermarket and they're like, "Oh, you grew up in Levittown, which is a town right next to mine.
Mhm.
Like you guys moved all the way to the Carolinas and now you're gonna hang out with like it, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's wild. It's wild. It's like
That's
how
interesting. Yeah.
it's like when I went to Siena, half of Siena's from freaking Long Island, but we're in upstate New York.
Yeah.
But
It is interesting
yeah,
how
I don't get why
that's
everyone's
happened.
going to the Carolinas.
No.
But if I was, if I was betting money on some housing, North Carolina residential real estate could be a
See a
move.
boom. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a move. I see mad people from like our age too moving into like
The
apartment
duplex
complexes.
type things. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's the 2 stories and they usually have like a pool for everyone. And
Yep.
it's a lot of stuff geared towards younger people too. So like they have
Mhm.
like these nights where they have like a DJ come out to the pool on a Saturday night so that
Mhm.
everyone hangs out.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, I would say there's really two stages of people that have moved and do move from New York. It's usually once you've retired and you want to go off or whatever. But even then, typically a lot of people will maintain some type of residency in New York because they'll have their kids up there or whatever it may be. Or you're a younger kid, which typically you're not going to go all the way to 40. You kind of pick the middle road, and Carolina has been kind of a hot spot and seems to increasingly be like that.
There's been
You've
a
been
lot
in
of
the cold
jobs there
forever.
too.
Yeah, you've been in the cold forever. Why not pick up and go there? There's no taxes. You probably know one or two people who've already moved down there because it's a hot spot or in some capacity. And I think you've seen kind of the shift. They voted blue this year. I would say they're kind of shifted from middle right to probably pretty close to the middle, maybe a little leaning left. And the fact that people from New York and surrounding New England and New Jersey places have
Carolina, a
have
lot of
moved
young
down
people.
to New. Yeah, a lot of young people.
It clicked in my head. I remember why. A lot of software jobs in Carolina.
Yeah, Raleigh's a big hub for them, and you're seeing
Yeah,
actually a lot of finance jobs to go along with that because where there's people
working
in
on
the software
software.
and technology, they're making money and they're young and don't know what to do with it. So you see a lot of finance jobs shift down to try and, like we said, compile the assets of those younger generations.
No doubt. No
Yeah,
doubt.
so we've talked a lot about that and the future. Let's kind of shift here and go into this whole restaurant owner thing. I showed you the video or the you've seen
Mhm.
the other video. I don't know if you'd seen the woman from California who put the video. It was probably 4 or 5 days ago now.
Yeah.
But I'll pull the video up here. Just, I mean, you can hear the uh, just the pain, I guess, in her voice as she goes through this. But talking about how her restaurant, she had put around $80,000 worth of renovations into it or something like that.
Yeah, to
Something
build
close
the
to that
outside
number.
area.
Yeah, to build the outside dining, and then was shut down, and then comes in to get some stuff, and there's a tents and everything with food all over it, 20 feet or 20 yards away for a play. So I have the video here. I'll actually just share it. Let me know if you can hear it.
No, I can't hear it. I forgot what we did last time to make it go through both.
I'm just going with it. They can definitely hear it.
So, yeah, that
All right,
that is wild.
I'm going through the
Oh,
video.
okay.
Here.
Now, what were the other tents for? They were for something else. The ones that she's yelling at. She says what they're for. She says, I remember her saying, like, and then they set these up over here and it's allowed.
Let's see. So it's tables and stuff to be used to.
Yeah, but one's hers, and then what's the other one?
So that was hers, and those tents are the setup for the movie scene that's going to go on. And
yeah, shooting a movie. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And that's going to be the food over there. Oh yeah, I'll stop that. I mean, you could hear the devastation in her voice, but it's hypocrisy at the highest level. I mean, I think that the what is his name, Garcetti, the mayor of LA, reached out to her and all he said was, "I'm very sorry for this," or something of that nature. Didn't really give her too much. Didn't even. I mean, that's basically a brush off, if nothing else.
Yeah,
But
I mean, what's he supposed to say though? Honestly,
I mean, how do you let it happen? I mean, I think you come in and say, well, at least if you're not
what's
going
he
to
gonna do? What's he gonna do? Backtrack right now though? What's he gonna do? Get on the phone with her and be like, "Nah, I was wrong. Let me just open everything up." Come on, he's not gonna.
No, but you have to shut down the tent, or at least make them take the tent down and such.
Oh,
for that
maybe he should have done that.
I'm not
Maybe
saying open it all up, but definitely.
Well, the dude's a dick.
Yeah, and
be honest.
Pure example as to why.
Yeah, but at the same time, whose fault was that? We voted Cuomo in. They voted him in.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I think we gotta lie in the bed we made. Honestly, quite frankly,
and we have been.
The fact that Cuomo's been our governor. Well, I don't know about that man's. How long has he been governor there? Maybe he's on his second round.
Well, that was Garcetti, who's the mayor of LA. So I don't know how
mayor.
long he's been there, but Newsom. I'm not sure how long Newsom's been there. Maybe
I know.
6, 8.
Cuomo can run again. He can run forever. There's no term limits. He can keep running.
Yeah, he can keep running.
But I don't. But we'll see about that. But if we keep voting him in, we're just the assholes that deserve it. Then honestly,
yeah,
we really do. If we vote him in after this, we deserve everything we get. But De Blasio's done after this, though. He's not allowed to run again. That's
now. What do you think? What do you think the likelihood of that is? Do you think Cuomo even runs again for governorship of New York? You think he runs for that and doesn't go for the
man just won an
or...
Emmy? Oh, you think maybe he runs for president? Nah, I don't think he runs for president. To be honest, I think he likes where he is.
I think he does.
The man's the king of New York. The man's the king.
I think he loves the power, though. I think he's also in it for the game, and I mean he can advance. So why would he? I don't see him as a guy who.
What? So you see him running soon?
Comfortable. I mean, 2024, very possible. Yeah.
Interesting.
If he goes back for one more as governor, that would be his last, and then he would be on to the presidency as well. But yeah, I think no doubt he's lining up and gearing up for that.
I don't think his dad ever ran for president, so I don't know. I could see him just chilling with being the governor. It's pretty prestigious.
It is, and especially
it's the most prestigious out of all the states.
All of them. Yeah, and I think he takes that as
he takes that as he's the man, bro.
That's exactly my point, though. I've done this for so long. This is the most prestigious thing. I think he's going to be of the opinion that he deserves to be kind of
Be
anointed to the next crown.
I definitely understand that.
But
I get what you're saying.
we'll see. Vaccine. What do you got some insight on the vaccine front? So I guess I'll let you give a little insight on that, and then we'll kind of talk about what we think
All right, so let's discuss
for
Pfizer's
markets and
vaccine
for us
first.
personally. Yeah. So here's the Pfizer vaccine. That's
You
what
get
you're
shot
talking
on the arm, then your arm goes dead. Your arm goes dead for a straight day, and I'm talking dead. Like you can't use it dead. Why is my Adobe popping up in front of me? But oh, more stuff's popping up in front of me right now. That's not what I needed. Okay. So then your arm is dead. Then you're gonna develop a fever for 24 hours. So you can't go to work. But you don't have corona. You're just gonna develop a fever, feel like shit. Your arm's gonna hurt. Then within the next 2 months, you have to get a second dose, which you're gonna go through the same side effects again. So now you're missing 2 days of work. You get in the dead arm. Honestly, I don't get why they don't just shoot you in the ass so that your arm doesn't hurt as much. Honestly, biggest muscle in your body is your butt, like size wise, thick wise. So
yeah,
but
I
the whole
agree.
fever thing, I don't really like personally.
Yeah, it sounds so that's to
Sounds
recap, that's a
aggressive.
shot in the arm, that's dead arm after the shot for a full day. Then the next day you wake up with a fever. You got the fever for 24 hours, then you wake up the third day and you're supposed to be
Chilling.
fine. I don't know how the fuck that works, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Then you fast forward 2 months with whatever the fuck that they just put into you for 2 months, and then you got to go through the process again. So
Well, it's not a live virus. There's no virus in it.
dead arm.
There's no like, you know how most vaccines, it's a dead virus they put in you.
Mm-hmm.
This one there's no virus at all. So it's not like you're getting the coronavirus.
So how does that work? Are you familiar with how that works?
Not really. I don't want to misspeak on that.
Okay.
It has something to do with your RNA.
RNA. Yeah. Okay.
But
is your ribonucleic acid?
yeah, but that doesn't change your DNA, they say. So I don't know. I don't want to start speaking like that because people are gonna say it changes your DNA. Phil said it changes your DNA. It doesn't change your DNA.
The Earth is flat too, according to Phil. So just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
flat earther. Me and Kyrie.
It comes down to, I mean, for first responders, for nurses and stuff like that, you know this because of relationship. Your mother is a nurse, I guess I'll just say. Is there any type of they can't come into work if they don't get it? They're forced to get it.
That I don't know. I'm pretty sure every nurse is gonna get it. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. Nurses are different breeds, but FDNY, what you just said, first responders, 53% of them already said they're gonna refuse to get it. And de Blasio said you have to get it. So
yeah,
I'm very interested to see where that plays out, how that plays out.
No, let's talk about that because there's been some talking that I've seen.
I've seen that jobs can fire you.
That jobs are going to require it and say you can't come back to work unless you're vaccinated. Schools are already talking about, the kids have to be vaccinated. They're not going to be allowed back in schools. What do you think about that? And a lot of people will draw this to some type of anti-vax thing or something like that. But
I don't know.
I think this is a separate issue to vaccinating your kids with the measles and the mumps or whatever the fuck they get when they're first born. I think this is
I don't know, bro. We needed a lot of vaccines to go to school that we all took without question.
Without question, yeah.
Without question, no doubt. They definitely
had
had some.
True? Is that fully true to them?
Yes, 100%. 100%. We took a ton of shit that, let's be honest, our parents might sit there to our face right now and we asked them. Like if I asked my mom, did you know that vaccine was safe for me back then? She's gonna say to my face, yeah, it's safe, yada. Do they really know? No, they don't fucking.
No, absolutely not.
There's crazy shit. There could be crazy shit.
There's mass amounts of people who have also already gotten those and have been
100%. So I don't know. Well, they already said that kids can't get the Pfizer one. You're not allowed to get the Pfizer one if you were a kid.
So that extends out the school situation. So if they're going to force people to
get it to go to work,
vaccine to go to school, Well, if they're going to force kids to get it to go back to school, then if the Pfizer vaccine doesn't work, and that's supposed to be coming out.
Well, they already have kids back in school. Like De Blasio said, he doesn't want. Well, like I'm just using De Blasio as an example because he's the biggest asshole of them all out there.
Yeah.
But he just came out and said he's been saying for like 2 weeks now about maybe we can have like I do not want kids at home. Like I want the kids in school, and he has all the kids in school right now in elementary school.
Are they all in school?
Yeah, but what they have is they have random testing where every week 40% of the school gets tested, just random.
And
So vaccines clearly like they might send people back to school without vaccines. And I think they will make kids get vaccines for this eventually. But clearly they're not gonna be able to now because if Pfizer's saying kids can't have it, they're not gonna be sticking kids in the arms with this.
In the arm, yeah, you can't. Yeah. Goes to the thing though. I mean, my biggest thing the whole time is, I mean, I think kids need to be in school for a number of reasons, but speaking in terms of the parents and going back to work in that situation, it's always been of my opinion, and I think in reality, you can't send people back to work in full capacity or anything of that nature until you know that their students or their kids are all in school in full capacity, because essentially you're dropping unforeseen care expenses and different things like that onto the parents when there's really no one who's going to go out of their way to do, very few who are going to do childcare for a mass amount of people. I mean, the largest caregiver for children in terms of an institutional setting in the U.S. is a school system. So if the school systems are fully virtual, how in the hell do any of these parents go back to school?
If there's one thing everyone should have learned from this whole pandemic is the government does not give a shit about us. You need to have your own backup plans.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, which is wild, but like, look at this. They literally just shut down schools and they're like, nope, you're on your own. Can't work. Like, figure it out. Like, so in my opinion, this whole pandemic has shown that everyone needs to get their self straight. You better have a year's worth of salary on lock somewhere in a liquid situation that if you need to, you can pull that out and start drawing from.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I've talked about, in my line of business with people is that people don't realize the value of liquidity until you actually need that liquidity. And there's been numbers of people over the past year now that have needed liquidity. So I think a lot of times, and most of the traditional retirement things, and a lot of times we talk about the throw the retirement out the window type of idea. But where there's some advantage of using some of those retirement savings accounts and stuff like that, liquidity is kind of paramount overall in terms of being
100%
fluidly go through life, especially as an entrepreneur, as a business person. Liquidity is really probably the number one factor in terms of where you're holding capital. So I think
all
hits the nail on the head.
Most people aren't liquid like that
in any capacity. Most people
exactly.
Capacity.
They're liquid for $2,000. They're liquid for $2,000.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, Corona comes down.
Yeah, and just because
throws everything off
in your checking or savings account doesn't mean that you're not liquid. You can have liquidity in tons and tons of different. Honestly. You could have
stocks are liquid.
Stocks are liquid. You can have
2 days. You can have that money.
Home equity, a HELOC on your property that's liquid, a fat chunk of change that is your capital to use, to leverage.
Yeah.
You can have so many different types of things to hold liquidity. So yeah, I think that is one of the most paramount things that's come from all this is that, we need to build our own kind of infrastructure, and B, have fucking sufficient liquidity and it's not even to back yourself up, but if you what's his name always Dalio with the cash is trash type of thing. For a guy like him, cash is
trash.
Is trash in some senses, but not even talking about cash. He's talking about cash in terms of US dollars.
Yeah.
I'm talking about cash in terms of having capital. So when you have capital to play with, you can make plays on opportunities. And over this past 8, 9, 10 months, a year now, there's been more opportunities within a 1 year span than you'll probably ever find over a 12-month span ever again.
It's the opportunity cost of where you put your money at the end
Yeah,
of the day.
yeah. But you have to have access to that to take opportunities, to take on the opportunity. So
Exactly. You're costing. There's a ton of opportunity cost if you don't have access to it. You're
if you
costing
don't,
yourself every time.
exactly. It's not even just in the opportunity, but in the structure of how you have your capital allocated. Really, it's something that Buffett talks about. Probably to a ridiculous extent, but properly having your capital out, or having your capital allocated properly, is one of the most important things, especially for times like now, to take advantage of opportunities.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You have no cash on the sideline right now, and you're in 5 positions, and they're all down. You're not going to exit it.
Yeah, can.
Exactly. I mean, well, you can. You got to cut. You got to cut some losses. Small losses win.
That is true.
Small losses are a win. Just avoid the big ones.
That's true. So I guess in terms of the vaccine, when did they say they were rolling that out again? Or did you not know?
I have no idea on that, to be honest. I've been hearing stuff. I don't know if you've been hearing stuff of people getting offered the vaccine this week already. And I'm not talking frontline workers. I'm talking about rich heads.
Now let me ask you this, because they brought this up. $1,500. They're going to give you $1,500 tax free. Are you taking the vaccine for $1,500?
Are they really doing that? I don't think they're doing that.
It's been talked about.
It's been proposed.
It's been proposed to get people to take it.
Now, remember, I said that's something that I think we should start doing if we wanted to get it out quicker. I'm not taking it. 15 isn't worth it for me
either. Yeah, no, me either. But I do think there's probably a large number of people, and you talk about what is the percentage of Americans that don't have $500 to meet an emergency expense. There's going to be a large portion of those folks who are going to say, yeah, where's the dotted line that I need to sign to do this? Is
definitely
a deposit? Do I get a check? What's going on here?
And guess what? Like I said, you know what? I don't know. Were we talking about this yesterday? We might have been. I don't know if we were, but let's say there's a good chance that this vaccine works perfectly. It's not going to harm us. It's going to do everything 100% right. There's a good chance. There's a good chance it doesn't fucking work at all. But at the end of the day, like, it's probably not gonna do anything to hurt. It's probably not gonna hurt us. It probably got overhyped by the media, and all this is probably psyching more people out than needed.
Yeah.
But
so you're saying
at the same time,
the odds are it's either going to work, it's going to not work, but there's very, very low likelihood that it's going to hinder in
I think, shape, yeah. I think it's either gonna work 100%, like where this is like, something good that's happened, like it's a measles vaccine, some great thing we've come up for the world, honestly. Or it's some bullshit like oxycodone that they got handed hundreds of millions of dollars to make this drug, and they said, all right, we need to put some shit together right now.
Something out, yeah.
Something that's not going to kill people, but something that's just going to make us our money.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say something here, and I'm interested to hear what you think, but did you see the Clinton, Bush, was it Obama? Was he the third one? Or Clinton, Bush, and one other one we're going to take
do
the
it
vaccine.
live.
They said take
no,
it
it was
live
mad. It was a bunch of president. It was every
living president.
Living president, yeah. So I think there's another one. I think Carter's alive.
I was going to say it might be Jimmy Carter and not Obama.
And Obama's going to do it though.
Obama too?
Yeah.
One, absolutely no chance in my mind that they put the vaccine into all those presidents on live TV. Absolutely no chance. Absolutely no chance that they put the vaccine in all 4 of those presidents.
Bro, the Queen was the one who said she was going to do that first. Before them.
Of course they say that. Of course they say that. Do you actually think the U.S. government, without knowing how
like what I just said,
going to give 4?
How do you know the vaccine's not good?
Presidents?
How do you know the vaccine's not good? If anyone's going to know, it's going to be the government.
That's exactly my no.
So if it's good, why wouldn't they give it to them?
My exact point is they don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I don't think they know. I think they've got a decent idea that they will, that it probably will be pretty effective.
Bro, I
also don't think that they're in the game of willing to take.
You don't think the people who built the vaccine know? I think Pfizer knows 100%.
Then why does Pfizer say 90% and then flip flop and say, oh, it's 95 when when whatever it is?
Bro, because have you ever taken a statistics class? I can go back into the data, change 2 numbers, and change 2 numbers in a in a scientifically moral way that I wouldn't be judged for it.
That's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
Bro, what do you mean? The statistics class was basically just teaching you how to manipulate numbers.
No, I agree, and I understand that. I always say stats are completely neutral, and then
Subjective. They're
whatever
so
story you
subjective.
put behind them is going to tell or is going to give the stats meaning. My whole point in this is I don't think they're 100%, and I don't think they're willing to put 4 or 5 presidents and put the vaccine in them, especially not on TV, given that they are not 100%. Because if one wrong thing happens to one of those 5 guys,
Bro,
it is going to cause absolute
I don't know
chaos.
how we know though if it's not 100 or if it was 100%. That's the thing. I don't know how we know because we don't.
I don't think there's it's scientific that there's no vaccine in the world that's 100%. There's no vaccine that's 100%.
But we still went and got hit up with the mumps and got hit up with the measles and got hit up with the.
We're not one of the 4 or 5 former living presidents, 6 former living presidents in the world don't have that type of image. Don't have.
Bro,
if something happens to little Jimmy in 6th grade because he got some vaccine and it fucked him up, terrible story, but doesn't cause it might cause a few people to get their fucking.
Bro, but like what I was saying before, either this shit's gonna work or it's not gonna work. I think, right? So let's say it is gonna work, and everyone's hyped up because of the media, right? So then obviously Pfizer knows that's just gonna work, and government would know that's just gonna work. So maybe they are gonna stick these presidents, but at the end of the day, me and you will never know if they got stuck with the vaccine or a placebo. We'll never know. Trust me, I thought that too. What if they're just gonna go up there and stick them with some saline? Why not?
And I still strongly believe that's going to be the case because, like you said, you're pretty confident it's going to be A or B, but you're not 100% willing to rule out C. You can't certainly rule out C.
Bro, so, B is what I'm scared of. Why would I want to stick my shit
at all?
This is for all being a for-profit thing. Why the fuck would why do I want to stick this random thing in my body just so that Pfizer can catch a check for $2,200 off my shot?
You don't, but you're not in mass hysteria because it's not going to hurt you in any way. It's not going to, fuck you
I don't
up.
think it's going to hurt me, honestly.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not even. I don't think that it's going to hurt. I'm saying that I don't think that the U.S. government will be willing to put all the living former presidents on a stage and stick them with it, with the possibility being, even if it's so minuscule, that something fucks, the freak incident happens to one of them.
But what I'm saying is, bro, I think the government's going to know. So if it is B, they're going to stick them with a placebo 100%. Yeah. If it is some fugazi, but if the government knows that it works and this shit has just been all overhyped by the media with all this, because bro, originally, remember when all the media was saying we're not taking a vaccine because Trump developed it and Trump developed it too quickly.
Let's think about when Trump got coronavirus.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when Trump said I'm gonna get Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson to come out with a vaccine by election date. Yeah. Everyone said, no, we don't want that because it's too quick. Mm-hmm. And now that Biden has it, everyone's cool with it. Mm-hmm. So do you think that there's a chance that because everyone in the media was saying, no, fuck this, it's too quick, it's not safe, that mad people have it in their heads that it's not safe when it could be perfectly fine?
Say that again.
So because of the media politicizing it, saying, no, we're not taking it because Donald Trump is getting this developed too quick. He got rid of regulations, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, it's cool to take it. The media wants everyone to take it. Yeah. Do you think, I think 100%, the over politicalization of the vaccine has got people in their heads thinking it's not safe. Where if no one brought that up, if no one brought up the time span from the beginning, if no one was saying, oh, they cut regulation, yada, 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 people wouldn't even be thinking twice about taking it.
I think you're right in a sense. I think there's always going to be
there's a lot of people that don't even think about this shit. There's a lot of people that will never think about it.
That's what I was going to say. I think there is those people who are always going to be extremely skeptical.
But they wouldn't be skeptical if it wasn't put in front of them, is what I'm saying.
No, see what I'm saying.
Oh, you're talking about a different group of people?
I would say that the vast majority of people, or I would say that, probably 65-70% of the people who are worried about it are in the case that you're talking about. they typically wouldn't have worried about it if it wasn't brought to their attention that it might be
100%. I agree
unsafe.
with that.
That other 30, 35%, whatever it may be, I think that those people were, they're 30, 35% of the people who are scared. They're really like, 10, 15% of or even less than that of the overall population. I think those people are people that were always going to be skeptical of anything, probably typically far right, as opposed
They're
to far
probably
left, maybe. Very
I
skeptical.
think they're both the same on each side. The tinfoil hat people, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it sounds weird now, but it's honestly, I remember being in an air. I had this, I don't know why, but I had this one guy in particular because he just like said it all in my mind. And I get off the plane in San Diego a few years ago, and I see this guy, tall, lanky, white guy, white hair, older guy. He's got the brown socks on with the 2-strap or the 3-strap sandals. You know what I'm talking about? The Jesus sandals on top. He's got like the cargo shorts, the green shirt. Looks like he's the crocodile hunter and the crocodile hunter mat or backpack. And he's got the mask on. And this is it was probably 2017 or 2018. And I'm looking at this guy like, dude, I gotta get the fuck away from this guy. He is freaking me the fuck out right now. He does this type of shit. And now he was way ahead of the game at this point. But those are the type of people who have always been extremely worried about everything. Like you said, the tin hat people who were always going to be against.
They were always going to be questioning no matter what. They would have been like, okay, so let me see the ingredients. Let me see everything behind it.
Exactly. But to your point, I think there are, that 60 or 70% of people who are worried about it who wouldn't have thought twice. And I would even probably put myself in that category. People who probably wouldn't have thought.
I probably wouldn't have thought twice about it.
Yeah, twice about it if it wasn't brought to my attention. I still don't think I would have been the first in line to take it, but that must be of an arrogant side of me where it's just like I'm not really that overly stressed about it.
I'm not worried.
I don't think last year I got my flu shot. I get the flu every year, even when I get the fucking flu shot. So
exactly.
So I didn't get the but that would be kind of my decision. Not that I'm terrified of whatever the ingredients are in it. But you do see it on the news, and I try to stay pretty neutral, in general too. But I see it and kind of think, oh, what the fuck could be in that thing? I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, the way that the media has shifted from like it's dangerous to it's safe, I'm sure that has a lot of people on their heads like, what the hell is going on here? It's like with the masks when he came.
So you're saying even when they were saying that it was unsafe, people were like, all right, yeah, but you're just saying it's because it's fucking Trump or whatever it may be.
Yes, and
you're saying now that they've shifted, they're kind of like, well, why are you? Yeah. Making the people.
I think it makes people uncomfortable, and and a lot of those people exactly like if the media would have just left it alone from the beginning, never said, oh, it's going to be unsafe because it was made too quick. A lot of people would have never thought to themselves, oh, maybe it's unsafe because it was made too quick. Like, like you were like, I don't know how long it takes to develop a drug. I have no idea. Like, I have absolutely. But you know what? I'm honestly the way I imagine it, I could be totally wrong. It's a dude sitting in the lab with the trench coat and he's mixing up shit. So maybe the dude got lucky. Honestly, maybe
my thought on it had always been, and I always said that I thought we were going to have some sort of vaccine or some sort of immunization sooner rather than later because of the fact that, and what do I know why? There's no real cure for cancers and different stuff like that. Why Alzheimer's has no
I
cure.
hate when people make that argument.
No. Listen. Those are completely different things and that's what I'm saying. Those are completely different things than, oh shit, we have a pandemic of a flu-like or, SARS-like thing, which we've seen some different strains of in the past and have already created vaccines and stuff for. So we have some type of base ground root to work off of. If we're going to put all our manpower behind this, which is what we're really doing, we're not doing, extra research and development type, vaccines on some little bug that we found in the Congo or something like that. We're working on this with all the power that we've got. You're going to develop it pretty fucking quick.
The incentives aligned. There was money being thrown at these companies. Obviously, the company that makes it is going to cash out off it. So incentives aligned. So like I agree with that 100%. This is like the timing wise, it makes sense why it came out so quick. Like people were whipping. They were probably working 60, 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week, just trying everything they could.
Yeah. And
it's a touchy subject in the way that like
it is.
You know what? The way I feel, honestly, we've been getting all these vaccines our whole lives. What's one more? But at the same time, why do they make us get this is something that I've never really thought about before until this moment is well, I know obviously mumps is different than the flus, but why do they make us get the mumps vaccine or the polio vaccine and not
Mhm,
make us get a flu shot every year to go to
mhm.
school?
Now, what about what are the thought here? Because, uh, like you said, you had to get all these shots to go to school, but for and I don't even have a real direct example, but for us who are out of school now, uh, there's nothing that we really have that's going to force us to take the
I was
vaccine,
thinking about that
especially
too.
being
Unless if it's a
self-employed.
job, unless if it's a job.
Well, that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying,
That's
especially
what I was just thinking.
employed. So when we're walking around town, whoever it may be, I'm walking down the street in New York City. I'm not immunized because I had no, there was no job telling me I had to. I didn't have to go to the school system to do it or
Mhm.
whatever it may be. But what is the situation there? Because there's going to be
Hey,
people in government that are going to be calling for some type of, we got to identify these people, this, that, and the other thing. How do we force them?
let me tell you,
Yeah, what do you think the situation is?
I've already been asked that. What's gonna happen if they start forcing people? Let me tell you, they start forcing people. I'm not taking it then. That's one.
Yeah,
Then
I
I'm really
think the
upset.
harder that they push to force, it's going to go the complete opposite way for them. I
Yeah,
agree with that. Yeah.
I'm a petty bastard like that. If they keep pushing, I'm not taking it.
Well,
And
like you said, when you're pushing it off and saying do not take this, and then you flip it, now you're pushing to take it. It does bring some type of skepticism into your mind, and you'd be a fool
yeah,
for it not to make you think.
and
Okay,
honestly, I've heard there's gonna be phone apps and whatnot to prove that you've taken it.
yeah, I'm not big on that. That's
I could tell you I'll find us. Man, it's personally I got us on lock. I'll find us someone for a few $1,000s who
uh,
will hook our phones up with a fucking thing that says we passed the test. We
listen.
got it done.
I would
We don't need
that is
vaccines. We're
so
fine.
so far into the stratosphere from being actually to be for that to be deemed constitutional would be the biggest sham to the Constitution in the
Bro,
history
that's
of the
like
world.
making people put stars on their shirts to
That's
tell you that they're
exactly.
Jewish.
And you want to? I actually just the reason I thought about this because I think back to an interview of my county executive. He had an interview the other day, and somebody asked him a similar question, and he said, "Are people going to have to fucking walk around with a ribbon wrapped around their arm that I
Yeah.
wasn't vaccinated? What's the that's not in the realm of possibilities here.
Yeah.
That,
People are
that's
talking phone apps, so and whatnot. And I'm telling you, I'm gonna have someone make me a fake. Like someone's gonna hack my phone and put my thing on there that says you've been vaccinated. And I'm gonna walk into every store and be fine. People are gonna be like, oh, he's vaccinated. I'm not gonna have a mask on anymore. I'm gonna be living life.
little Philly coughing in the corner. That's good.
It's the
All
chronic,
right,
not the corona.
that's exactly. Let's shift here to some other things. I don't know what do you want to talk about. I want to talk a little bit at some point in the next couple episodes about the threats to the dollar as a reserve currency and what that might mean, but we don't necessarily have to go.
That's something that we gotta plan out.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So we
That's
can
something we can get deep on. We could do an
yeah
episode on that. We
we
could get like 45 minutes, an hour on that. Easy.
yeah. So we can come back to that maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, or even later this week, maybe tomorrow. You want to talk about Howard Stern? Howard Stern getting a nice little check.
Yeah.
The old
Yeah.
bastard.
Damn.
Howard Stern,
Well,
has really, I mean, honestly, has been a pioneer of a shift in how things take place in terms of, uh, you know, watching, listening, the whole, content creation. He was kind of the pioneer of the let loose and just be yourself and
be a savage.
whoever enjoys that type of content or your specific content is gonna tag right along with you. But he made somewhere in the range of 60, 70, $80 million a year before this. I think it was towards 80, but just signed a contract that's going to be what 120 million over 5 years, 120
A
a
million a
year for
year.
120 million a year for 5 years.
Half a
Um,
billion dollars. Over half a billion dollars.
yeah, yeah. And if you know what I actually take from this, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say. And I understand Howard Stern's longevity and how long he's been around and the type of uh, following that he's built. But if he's 120 a year for 5 years, Joe Rogan has got to be banging his head against a wall for signing
Yeah.
$100 million 10-year contract or whatever it is with Spotify because he is vastly underpaid at 100 million over 10
Yeah.
years or 5 years, whatever it
I
is.
would definitely. Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We gotta look at the numbers on Howard's audience because Howard has a ton of listeners.
A ton.
Ton.
And I agree. But
Like
if,
into
if you
spheres
think,
that we don't even like imagine. Like probably honestly, our grandparents probably listened to him at some point. Not
you're
anymore, but like
and from all walks of life, sports, entertainment,
yeah.
celebrities. I mean, he's got
Hmm.
adult film people in
Definitely
there.
though.
He's
I agree
got
with you that
comedians, every left and right thing that he could
Joe
have.
Rogan is definitely pissed that he's not at least getting like
Yeah.
25, 30 million a year
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, and I think he wasn't necessarily the first, but in terms of podcasting, he is the holy grail. I mean, he is
Yeah,
number
in
one
terms
in
of
terms of
podcasting,
podcasting
100%.
whatsoever. So
I would say Howard
Stone,
Stern led the road for him though. He laid the road for Joe Rogan for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. But it's also interesting because in this new age of people really starting to get paid, it kind of screwed him to be number one. He was kind of the first person that jumped and got that contract. Rogan was,
Yeah.
towards the beginning of quarantine, and a couple months later, with a bunch of other people getting fat checks, he's kind of sitting there like, "Fuck, I got screwed."
Howard
And now they're
Stern though
kind of
also
censoring.
too, he is a known he's known. Joe Rogan is known. He's known among
In certain
people our
spheres,
age.
yeah, in
People,
certain spheres,
I would
I
say
agree.
max like 30 because I would say there's definitely an age these days that like people stop now that people stop, there's just an age of people that they never really experience podcasts, so they don't watch them.
He also has the connection through UFC and things like that, which
Definitely.
do help him with some of the older generations. But by and large, yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, there's definitely like I would say below 35, everyone knows Joe Rogan. But also at the same time, you go anywhere, everyone knows Howard Stern. Absolutely. And
Everywhere.
he does so many different things. He was a judge on like America's Got Talent,
Yeah.
he's just out there. He's definitely out there in the public, but I think in 10, 15 years, everyone will know Joe Rogan just as
Mhm.
well. Like,
Yeah, I agree there too, but it's interesting because Howard has kind of shifted from what he once was, and kind of
definitely.
taken some different avenues, which I mean is all too common in the times. He's kind of floating. He used to be the guy who really took his own stance on everything and would just be as square and straight as possible, and now he's kind of seeming to shift some opinions, kind of take the mainstream type of route.
He's a little politically correct now these
Yeah,
days.
yeah, yeah.
After
So
years of being the most raunchy,
yeah,
disgusting, vile
and proud of it
show.
too. And that's what he built the business on. That's what he was all about. That's what he was. He was kind of
I remember a
and
Howard Stern sketch where he
mhm.
brought a KKK member on,
Jesus.
and he had a bunch of slurs written up on the freaking board, like they would like peel off, right? So
Yeah.
and he was like rank him in order from the greatest race to the worst race, and
Oh
this
my
dude put
God.
the white on top, and he was just going through. And bro, this is the dude telling people, be nice to transsexuals now.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, think of how many stories of just terrible sex escapades and all the different stuff
The
that's
man
been
was a
on.
savage
Just
back
a
in the day.
complete wild man. All been on
Like
there.
the disregard. That man definitely disrespected some women back in his
Oh please. Yeah. I,
talking about because he's so politically correct these days. It gets me kind of angry, honestly, because no doubt he did some savage things, and he definitely looked at women and said savage things and was like, "Yeah, I'm dead ass about that."
yeah, and it's tough to see. You never like to see. Uh, and I don't want to say that I don't like to see him being, a little bit more aware of things or something like that. But
Yeah,
you got to still stay true to what what it is that's been your brand and as
stay true to yourself.
what's brought
Stay
you
true to
success
yourself.
through the years. I'm sure there's a lot of his viewership, and I'm interested. Uh, I'm sure that he wouldn't have gotten that 120 million a year for 5 years had he not taken that shift, I guess.
Definitely,
But in the grand scheme and the long term of it, uh, is it going to be beneficial for his brand, for his brand and for himself, really? Because how many viewers, how many people who came to see the content for what it was over the past few years have kind of shifted and found other outlets or other people putting out content that's more similar to the stuff that he was going with before, and aren't really interested in what he shifted to.
I'm oh shit. Oh, here's what I
Because
was going with that.
who are
So you know how I
who
feel.
are the aware people?
This is
What
kind of like
generation are the aware people? The younger
the
people who are
yeah.
less so his viewership. The older
Nah,
people,
I agree.
they don't
But
really give a fuck.
well, also I think all of Hollywood is taking the shift. So I think he's been with that.
Yeah.
How you said he's on this mainstream shift. But
Mhm.
like the way I kind of feel, it's we're on where if the middle road was like no political correctness, everyone just a joke's a
Say what
joke.
you said. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. Like let's just say that for example, that's middle road.
Mhm.
Now we're over on the left right now, and I'm gonna say like 1950s McCarthyism, we were super on the right.
Mhm.
Like we were scared. Everyone had to rat each other out for saying communist shit. Now we're on the left. Everyone's ratting each other out for saying racist shit or like being sexists.
Mhm.
So I think, maybe 10, 15 years down the road, we'll hit that middle again and maybe everyone will get to go back to being savage for
Do you
20
actually
years.
that the shift is going to come back towards the middle, or do you think it's going
100%.
further?
It always comes back. There's always an equilibrium in everything.
Mhm.
It's always
Mhm.
got to come back. Now, the equilibrium can shift. So if the equilibrium was in the middle before, let's say it was perfect middle of the road,
Mhm.
and we stay too left for too long, I
Mhm.
think the equilibrium could move over left. But I
Yeah.
don't think we're at such a far, like right now, think about like the way I look at it, it's like we've gone parabolic. Like in 2015, 2016, when we first got into college, there was a lot of that, you got to be nice to your fellow person.
Mhm.
You can't make sexuality jokes. Like that's not right to do.
Mhm.
Now we're on just like a full extreme headwind of that. Meanwhile, freshman year of high school, 4 years before that, there was people dropping the N-word in the back of the bus still. So
Mhm.
like we've taken such a huge swing up in the past 8 to 10 years
Mhm.
that I don't think we can't possibly keep going on this route.
Mhm.
People are gonna go crazy. Bro, big example. Big social justice warrior in my town. This girl loves to call people out on being racist, right?
Mhm.
She gets a screenshot of you from back in the day. She's calling you out. She's gonna say it. She's gonna tweet, put it on Instagram, whole 9 yards. Is this you? She got called out the other day for being racist.
Yeah.
Totally shut down,
Yeah.
destroyed. Like this, she was saying she was gonna kill herself over this. Like, that's
No, and
crazy.
I think you
But
see it even in
the
growing.
virtuous are going to end up getting their taste their own medicine eventually because
Mhm.
no one could be. We're getting to the point where no one could be virtuous enough
Yeah.
to be good. So
To appease to appease those. No, and that's I think even in my life and my interactions with people that I see, it's kind of gone to the point where I even see people who might be, people talk about the racist thing. You see some of the minorities who are just kind of like, all right, enough. Like this is kind of getting,
yeah,
like I know this guy. I know so and so. He's a fine dude. He's treated me fine my whole life. But meanwhile, you got some person who's probably not even a minority. They're probably a white person behind the keyboard firing off things, and obviously there's a level where, like you said, things can't like happen like that in the back of the school bus. But you also don't need to continue to go so far to the left where you literally can't be nice enough to appease someone. You don't have to be
definitely.
nice all the time. A little, and you don't have to be downright wrong. But I mean, you got to allow some type of leeway, some type of
Yeah, that's why I
people's
100%.
character to show. You can that's a leadership style, and to be a little bit more in your face, aggressive, blunt, to the point. Uh, you're kind of eliminating a whole swath of people who are very successful at conducting their lives, and many people love them for conducting their lives that way. To kind of be ostracized for how they go about things.
I mean, you know what? Honestly, there's always going to be a group ostracized at the end of the day, but
Mhm.
because there's always going to be people ostracized. But like I said, that's why I don't think it can hold. I think we
Yeah, but
have we're gonna swerve back towards an equilibrium. Where the equilibrium ends up,
yeah.
we might never be as it might never be like the old day TVs back in the day, people making gay jokes and
Mhm.
jokes about illegal Mexicans on TV.
Mhm.
But it definitely won't be keep going this way. I'm telling you that it can't.
Yeah, I think a lot of
It
the
could keep
solution
going this
comes
way for a
down
little
to
bit.
I think a lot of the solution comes down to is people are just giving too much of a fuck about everything, really. I mean, you just stop. I mean, what do you care about what he said or she said, or what
What
about you or
wants
about
to do?
someone else? Just fucking move on, get your own bag, get your own.
Let's say this was 1700, right?
Mhm.
And me and you, even if we worked in the city, it doesn't really 90% of the people would be fucking farmers, right?
Mhm.
And they would be making their own clothes, making their own food,
Mhm.
selling their food. They have shit to do to keep them occupied.
Mhm.
Now we just have too many people don't have enough stuff to keep them occupied. That's part of the issue. So you sit on Twitter for 4 hours a day and you get told how racist everything is. You start getting angry. Like
Yeah.
definitely, honestly, the stuff we're seeing in our culture, there's definitely makes sense. I can see viable reasons on why it occurs, but I think if we can shift back to definitely personal responsibility. People back then just had personal responsibility because if you didn't have personal responsibility, you
There's
ended
no
up dead.
accountability for anything.
You ended up dead.
Because and I agree. I just it's going to be interesting to see where the shift goes, because I mean, even think back to 2012, 2013, 2014. Twitter and these things were really, they were nothing. I mean, they were just kind of starting out, and even then there was not really the worry or it's all since those types of things have come into existence, have come into relevance in people's lives, that people have gotten much more concerned about things that probably don't really need to concern them, really.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It doesn't need to concern a lot of people. A lot of No, I'm not gonna bring up. I'm not gonna start speaking on that. People are gonna start ripping into me one day for even speaking on that topic.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a shift.
Yeah, there's just it's a lot of victim mentality, and there's a lot of, and it's not even with the race. Trust me, man, we can have a conversation one day.
I agree.
There's so many
it
things.
has nothing to do with that. It's just a victim mentality.
You know what? No, we're going there. I'm bringing it there. I'm bringing it there right now.
No, don't.
Brett Kavanaugh.
We're making all right.
So Brett Kavanaugh, what's the big deal with girls wanting to say that they've been raped these days?
Well, I mean,
how many girls do you know that tell you, yeah, I was raped in 2016 back in high school? Whoa. Keep that over there. One. I think a lot of people like to tell themselves that they were sexually harassed to give themselves an excuse. I'm going to be 100% honest. As fuck as that sounds.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even going to go and touch on that. What I'll say is I think the Brett Kavanaugh thing was a completely different story. And I think, I mean, admittedly by many people on either side, that it was just there was absolutely nothing there, and it was completely a slander campaign that was
exactly. And I feel like it has a lot to do with exactly the same thing as what we were saying with political correctness. I think it has a lot to do. Nothing's going on. They have nothing going on in their lives.
I'm all for many people or different, there's a lot of scumbags in the world,
definitely.
The Harvey Weinstein thing wouldn't have come out if not for this. The Epstein thing wouldn't have come out if not for this. Different things like that. But no, I think there are a lot of things that fall into the minutia that are probably not needed to.
Because I'm telling you, you walk into a bar these days.
Either side could just continue to live their life. It was already put behind you and you hadn't even thought about it. It goes to the same thing with the vaccine, and that things weren't even on your mind until the media began fear dealing to you. They just continue to deal fear to you.
Remember when they used to talk about,
put it into your mind?
I feel like we were probably in like middle school. They started talking about all the time, like date rape, stuff of that nature. Like, oh, the girl's too drunk, stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't be a scumbag. If a girl's hammered, she's hammered. But I don't know. I feel like over the past 5 years, I've had so many more females speak on things of that nature, saying like, I was sexually assaulted one time back in high school. And it's like, honestly, sweetheart, it doesn't look like anyone will want to touch you. So I don't know why you're telling me you were sexually assaulted. Not to be a dick. But
all right, let's shift.
Yeah, definitely.
We could talk about DoorDash and Airbnb. SoftBank hit a nice come up, 680 million, and turned it into 11.4 or 8 or something, 11 billion, $11+ billion. So they had a nice come up on the DoorDash IPO. Airbnb today is supposed to list at, what is it, 68?
I think Airbnb already listed. Let me see.
Well, they were, yeah. So they were supposed to go at 68. It dropped somewhere at 150-ish range, or released at somewhere in the 150-ish range.
Bro, I cannot believe Airbnb is on here right now. That gets me so hyped. Not even gonna lie, gets me so happy.
Airbnb is, 8-time what is it, 8-time finisher, top 50 finisher in the top 50 disruptors list. I think it's a Forbes list or a business magazine list, something like that. But they're a disruptor to the industry. And I mean, what do you think necessarily about Airbnb? Because uh, my one worry was I was huge on
It's too big.
Airbnb, and then the coronavirus hit, and I had some skeptical thoughts because it's at first,
I
how do
was.
you know my Airbnb is getting cleaned, this, that, and the other thing. People are probably gonna look to hotels because you can visually see the cleaning service going through the hotel, this, that, and the other thing. But then I kind of shifted back and said, listen, people are not going to want to live in a hallway with 50 other people or 30 other people living down the hallway from them. We know now that Airbnbs are getting cleaned and serviced and everything up to par. They have tons of services that are doing it. So with that said, I think Airbnb, they were hot before, but coronavirus might have even jump
They're
started
hotter
them
now.
even more, because people are going to take that single dwelling or single single dwelling, as opposed to living in a row of rooms with 12 different other families who are all there, going all around and doing God only knows what, talking to God only knows who. So
100%.
yeah,
I totally I think the scariest fact is the fact that people are valuing an Airbnb so much. I mean, like at the end of the day, I guess if we added up the way I was really thinking about it beforehand, we'd have to see how many rooms they control, or how many beds, I guess, actually. How many beds are under their control compared to like Hilton or something of that nature, I guess. Because it's kind of a weird thing to value, because then again, they don't, but
no,
still,
but it
besides
comes
point,
along
it's huge. It's bigger than Blackstone. It's bigger than Goldman. That
those
scares me.
are, yeah, that's questionable, but it comes along the same lines as we were talking about yesterday with some of the gaming companies and stuff like that, along the same lines of Uber. The hotel companies are, they're holding physical real estate on their balance sheets. They're indebted on that real estate on their balance sheets. They have a ton of rooms that they have to fill. They have to worry about a large occupancy numbers, different things like that. Whereas Airbnb is not, it's not the same model as the hotel. It's a technology company again, just like Uber's the technology company. They're not holding a bunch of cars like CarMax or some rental services. It's connecting customer with the real estate provider. It's connecting customer with driver, and we're just going to be the middleman that cuts you the check. So it's a different thing. You can't really compare it to the hotels. I think it's far larger because of that technology aspect. But along those same lines, when you get into things like Goldman, you get into Blackstone. These are institutions holding trillions of dollars worth of, or managing trillions of dollars worth of assets. I don't know how you put Airbnb this early on at a larger
Yeah,
valuation
no doubt.
than them.
But I will say, I think Airbnb, I think they killed it. I think they killed it in this pandemic. Not even gonna lie, like,
This was a big thing for them. Big thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
because every Airbnb I tried to book for 4th of July, it was sold out. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were killing it still, and they have the little things all over it telling you how it's getting clean for COVID. Do you really know if that's happening? I guess you could make that argument. You don't really know, but I've never
I
been
will
in
say I
a
stayed in.
dirty Airbnb.
No, I've never been in a dirty one either, and I will say that I stayed in one in August. And literally as I was leaving the room, there was a full on cleaning service coming in, and they had all the bells and whistles. And I talked to the guy briefly, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, we do basically all the Airbnbs in this area, and it's basically like one company is just running around every a lot of the checkouts are on the similar days, stuff like that." And they're doing full cleaning of literally everything in the house. So they are doing it up probably better
Definitely. When I was
probably
in
better than
AC,
your hotel is
I
doing.
saw them cleaning. Like I physically saw the people in Atlantic City cleaning our Airbnb,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
I had to wait for them to leave and whatnot. But yeah, I think Airbnb, it's because like we were saying, the first thing you check now these days is Airbnb,
Mhm.
and that's true. Probably true for, at least holds true for our generation, and probably
And I would
which
say people one, generation one above
yeah,
us, maybe
hmm
even one above them.
yeah.
When you
So we
start
could
to get
cut it
into
off
our
at 35 again ish,
yeah,
around there.
35, yeah, 35,
So
40,
but I'm
right under
saying,
there. Yeah,
I
like
think
you
it's gonna
said.
hold underneath as well. So you're just got more. It's just gonna be more and more business. So
Mhm.
truly, if Airbnb does come down, into
Mhm.
the below the hundreds, I like it as a long term
Mhm.
play personally.
I think another thing is to note is as travel is changing, and the fact that we talked about that kind of those short jumper flights are no longer going to go. People are not going to go to Expedia and get the joint booking, book your hotel room and your flight all in one type thing,
Yeah,
which is really where the hotels are getting a lot of business. Even if you're not booking the flight, traffic through Expedia, stuff like that. Whereas the Airbnbs, oh, I need a place to stay for one night. I pop in this Airbnb because there's no minimum night stay. It's nice, I can pop in, comfortable, got a space to get up, cook some breakfast, whatever it may be. I think the way in which travel is changing suits Airbnb a lot better than it suits uh, the hotel industry as a whole, and we kind of see them.
definitely. I see a lot more people taking little road trips, like little weekends,
Yeah.
little, something within a few hours. They can get there and back
Mm-hmm.
within
Mm-hmm.
the weekend. And Airbnb, it's perfect for that. Let's be honest. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've never found a hotel that has the amenities that an Airbnb has. At the end of the day, I find some sick Airbnbs. Either I
Mm-hmm.
have absolutely no neighbors, or I have a sick house, like
Mm-hmm.
for a good price. And at the end of the day, most of the time, yeah, like the price is more expensive than a hotel room,
Mm-hmm.
but you can have 10, 15 people there. And when all you guys put your money together, it's going to cost you less than that $200 a night you were going to spend on a hotel room.
Yeah, and I think we see a lot the hotel industry. They're kind of starting to they have to put different things on on facility. They're starting to put basketball courts, or they got a little water park or slides or whatever it may be. They got the pool area with the hot tub, the gym area, these types of things. They're trying to add those types of amenities to kind of shift or to get people to come to them. But it also, in doing so, they have to raise the cost of room prices. Whereas the Airbnb, they're saying, we have
We have this
city.
already.
It's this city. I don't have to provide it. The city's going to provide the attraction. And this is just a cool place to stay. Whereas because the hotel is not necessarily the cool or quaint or whatever it may be place to stay, hip place to stay, they have to put amenities in to draw you in to stay there, which is going to make it more expensive over time. So as Airbnb grows and their network grows and everything of that nature, the pricing of those rooms is probably going to continue to fall. I think we've already seen it fall because there's far more competition in the market. I mean, there's tons of people who are,
You think the prices are going to fall? I think they're going to rise. Price personally. I think they're going to.
I think supply is increasing so rapidly on them that, and I understand where you're coming from in terms of.
I think they're going to start killing hotels personally. Like, you know what I mean? We're
I
going to
do
see
too, but how do you do? You don't do that by raising the price.
No.
You do that by increasing competition lower.
Nah, you definitely do. You definitely do by increasing the price in some areas. We have, like boutique hotels, bro. Boutique hotels are like $600-700 a night.
Yeah,
and they're fly. They're fly. A boutique, like they have some fly boutique hotels. Now I think some Airbnbs, now I'm not saying every Airbnb can compete. Now there's definitely Airbnbs on that Motel 6 level, and there's Airbnbs on that boutique hotel level. I think some of those Airbnbs that are on that more upper echelon level are going to start pricing higher. Maybe in the lower sphere, definitely, because there'll be more. But I think they're going to get the prices they're demanding, though, is what I'm saying. I think they're going to say they're asking, because I've seen Airbnbs in like freaking Vermont asking for $4 or $5 grand a night. $4 or $5 grand a night. Like,
and that's, sick area. They got some cool type of, the Airbnb is cool itself, some type of cool architecture, whatever it may be. The same sense, those hotels are probably going to get whatever, those boutique hotels are going to get whatever they are going to ask too. Those people are going to come and pay. That's
a different clientele for sure.
And in the bottom range, there's definitely some Motel 6s. I'm more talking in terms of the Holiday Inn type,
and I think there's plenty of Airbnbs that are the middle of the road as well.
And that's what I mean, the middle of the road.
And right now they're cheaper. So why not? Once you start, this is why I'm looking at it, say Airbnb start, so they're cheaper right now, let's say, and you kill out the middle of the road hotels. Why not say the gap was $50? Why not go up $25, half the gap? But why not go the full 50 then and get your full 50? As the person supplying, I think the suppliers are going to say, why don't I get this dollar? Like, why can't I get this dollar if people are going to pay it?
Well, let's think of this
but it's after they kill the hotels, though. After they kill the hotels.
Think of it from like the perspective of the oil barons per se. And you just raised the point. The only way that you get to the after the hotels is by lowering the prices in the interim to put those hotels out of business. Then you have the market.
See, but you also don't have
to raise the price.
when you had oil barons, you had 4 or 5 guys who controlled the supply.
But right now,
Now you
in
have
terms of
thousands of
Airbnb,
people. You have thousands of people
people, you
renting
have
their
the thousands
houses.
of people, but it's the
It's a market. It's a
Airbnb,
free
the
market.
VRBO.
Yeah, but those are just platforms, like you said. It's just the technology. They're not the ones. They're not the ones setting the price. Now, I'm sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure Airbnb, when you put your, let's say you put in your pictures and everything, and you put in your house at $300 a night, and your house is a pretty sick house.
Mhm.
I'm sure Airbnb has some type of system in place already where they tell you like, oh no, you should be putting your house at this amount. I'm sure they give recommendations because that would just be smart for them to draw in more of a fee. Why have people out there putting their shit out for mad cheap and you're collecting 10% fee when you could be getting 10% of 600 instead of 200?
Mhm. No, yeah, I know what you mean. They're definitely, and
I think there's definitely more. I think because there's the big free market, though, I think we will get that cheaper effect. I think they
well,
definitely will be cheaper than
I was
hotels.
just gonna say, do you think they introduce something where there's some type of negotiation for
You can
price?
negotiate.
Can you negotiate?
Yeah, but not really. I mean, like you can. You message
The
the
only
people.
times I've used it, I just go with the book now. I mean, just throw the
Yeah,
card in
I
or
mean, I
whatever.
always message the people, and I'm just like, is this the cash price?
Yeah, I'm about
And
that. Yeah,
sometimes they don't. Most of the times they don't want to do that because
yeah,
they have no liability. They have no protection. Then
protection.
I mean, you don't either once you start paying in cash. But
If you pay credit, then you have to.
yeah, but still, like, yeah, I mean they still have no protection though if you fuck up their house. That's the issue. They want it through Airbnb, so they have all your info and everything for the most part.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we've definitely had houses where they have just taken cash from us,
Mhm,
and those are usually the best.
mhm. Yeah.
There's no recourse usually.
No, there's none. All right. Well, I think we filled up a good chunk here. I don't really have
Definitely,
everything else on the list. I don't know if you had
it's gonna
any
go two
topics,
hours today.
yeah, that you want to chat about. If not, and we'll wrap it up. We got definitely some
Yeah,
talk about that threat to the dollar as a reserve currency coming up. Maybe we'll probably need a little bit more time to go through that type of stuff. So we'll save that from next week.
definitely.
Maybe be back tomorrow, depending on how the schedule ends up rolling out. Since we were kind of supposed to go with a Wednesday and a Friday, and it got cut short, so we had to go with the day. But we filled up a good amount, so we'll see what the schedule has
Definitely.
in store. But
I got one thing to add. So
yeah,
I know we got some loyal viewers, definitely, so far.
mm,
And so the first loyal viewer to comment on this video today, well, not today, but this video specifically here, I will Venmo $25.
look at that.
So we're doing
It's
the
getting
giveaway today.
generous.
We're hitting the giveaway today. First one in the comments today, $25. Comment done, comment whatever you want. But
Comment the
let's see if we
Venmo
got
name.
comment the Venmo name. Exactly. Comment the Venmo name and I will shoot you that $25 first person.
There it is. Yeah, like and subscribe, share it all around too, and let the people know to tune in. Soon we're going to be putting up the infrastructure in place to go live and just be live every time. So that'll
Exactly.
be good. You'll be able to pop in, comment, chit chat, whatever it may be.
Be able to
on
get
the
some
live
polls from
version.
the audience and whatnot.
Yeah, but until then, definitely comment on the posts, like, share, and everything of that nature. All right. Well, we'll see you either
We'll
later
see
this
you.
week or next week.
Yep.
Peace
Sounds
out.